I guarantee you, 20, 30 years ago, if you would have had an ice fest, the tent would have been really tiny. There would have been like just a handful of products. You think of people sitting on buckets, Ice fishing has grown up a lot over the last 10 years.
No, that's what I would tell people.
There's still waves.
Oh, it's crazy. You get 1 or 2 inches on there. Can we take half tons or 3/4 tons yet? It's like walk.
You're a panfish guy, aren't you, Tony?
Spend a lot of time chasing panfish, yep.
What's a favorite lure that you're excited to tie on?
It's
What's like your most, for like a live sonar setup, what is your most popular battery, the one that you would recommend? All right, talk to us a little bit about just what it takes to get this ice fest going and have it be what it is. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 11th annual Ice Fest in Fargo, North Dakota. Welcome to the SCHEELS Podcast. We're going to have a lot of fun here. Normally we're in studio, but today we decided to bring you to an event. This is our Ice Fest. So we got Ashley and Jason Mitchell with us. He'll be our first guest. Jason, talk to us a little bit about an Ice Fest. What is an Ice Fest?
Well, it started off with a lot smaller tent and just a big idea. I remember coming to the first one, and it was pretty novel. The ice industry was really growing and expanding at the time. More people were getting into ice fishing. Technology was changing. For example, electric augers. More women were starting to go out. That was one of the things that we really saw. Lightweight augers, easier. Technology keeps better. We've seen this boom in the ice industry and a lot more excitement. But then also with that, we need education with it too, to teach people how to use all this equipment. And so I remember, the first Ice Fest was much smaller than what we see today.
Right.
So it's been fun to watch us grow over the last decade. It's been incredible to see the growth, just the enthusiasm. I guarantee you, 20, 30 years ago, if you would have had an Ice Fest, the tent would have been really tiny. There would have been like just a handful of products, just a couple of lures, and a couple of you think of people sitting on buckets. Ice fishing has grown up a lot over the last 10 years.
And it's so awesome to see that change too.
For sure.
I even remember from like when I started ice fishing, we had like just a little straight pole, and like you'd have to like turn the little reel or like wind it on a couple of pegs, and now it's all the technique specific stuff you're doing, and the live sonar, it's just wild.
Yeah, and to be fair, you can still catch fish with some of that stuff, so don't be intimidated to try ice fishing. But it's just the equipment just keeps getting more dependable. It's easier, whether it's pulling up a map of a lake on your phone, electric augers where, like somebody that's a small frame can drill holes. You don't have to lug around a heavy auger. You don't have to worry about gas. Electronics obviously help you find the fish. The shelters keep getting lighter and warmer. Don't have the condensation. Even the heaters, you have carbon monoxide sensors, and I remember I was telling somebody this the other day. I remember going out like on Lake Audubon, say 35 years ago, and there were some permanent fish houses out there. Every one of those permanent fish houses on the lake was made by a farmer who had wanted something to do in the wintertime. They're all homemade. Okay?
Yeah.
You couldn't buy, like an ice castle or an ice lodge fish house that was factory made. They didn't exist then. Everything was homemade, and you saw all kinds of different things. A lot of creativity. Those pole barns welding their own fish house frame. But and even the portable shelters, they were all homemade. That was just 30 years ago. And so you look at now, you go out on a lake and you won't see a single homemade portable, or some of us you can't. You can buy a great fish house for what it costs to make it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like building an extravagant deer blind, you'd get done with it like, wow, I could have had a fiberglass one for less money than this. It will last forever. So it's crazy how that's changed over time. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's really become like a whole family ordeal too. Like you're bringing your kids out, more women are out.
Well, and we hope that all outdoor activities could be that way. With hunting, it used to be a guys' club. Now I know a lot of women anglers and women hunters that are very, very passionate about it. And I think it's a deal where, hunting and fishing the outdoors is captivating. I've watched it, even like with my own kids, they develop passions for it where, you have to, there's a lot of humility with it, right? You're not always successful. You take your lumps and you develop that passion. There's so much to learn. But then too, there's a great feeling of success when it all comes together. I've never felt like, I'm a pretty laid back person. I've never felt like fist bumping or doing anything like that in my life, but you shoot a big deer, you're just like, or you catch a big fish and you're just like, it just brings out everything inside you. I always joke, my kids, before you ever let your daughter get married or go into business with somebody, you deer hunt with them for a week and you find out everything.
Absolutely.
Right? Like you find out who that person is right to their core.
Right.
Sometimes because it just brings that out of you, and that's what's so beautiful about it. That's why we love to do this, So.
For sure. So we got to shout out Clam for this event.
Yeah,
they're one of
awesome.
they're the main sponsor for this, and Ice Team. So Jason, what's a clam lure that you're really excited about trying this year?
Well, I tell you what, one lure that I've just caught so many fish on is a rattling PT. Okay, it's got a Pyrex glass. Now we had a clam rattle spoon years ago that had the Pyrex glass on the lead body, and we tried all kinds of different things with adhesives to get that rattle to stick to the lead. And one of the things we had a problem with the rattles falling off the spoon, to be honest with you. And so we discontinued that lure a handful of years ago. And one of the things I really liked about that Pyrex glass is that glass makes the rattle chamber much louder, amplifies it much more so than traditional brass. And so that lead glass combination is the loudest rattle chamber that you can create, that we've seen from all the testing that we've done. But then one of the things that happens is figure out a way to use a zinc alloy instead of lead. Then that way we can make different edges to encase that rattle chamber. And so then that way we're able to build a rattle spoon that the rattles didn't fall out. Okay, and so then the next test, now the zinc alloy, will the spoon work the same and jig the same as what the lead spoons did. We found it actually gave a little bit better flash, a little bit more swing when you rock it. And so I've been testing those lures for a while, and we came out last year, but it's a lure that, like on Lake Irving, Alice, Devil's Lake, Early Ice, Red Lake, Lake of the Woods, even Mille Lacs, when you have aggressive fish, don't overthink it. Whoever has the most fish come underneath them wins. Okay? Like if you have 5 fish come underneath you and you catch half of them, and I have 15 fish that come underneath me and I catch half of them, I look way better, right? When you work that Pyrex glass rattle, when you're on a lake that you've got a lot of walleyes and they're aggressive fish, I'm pulling fish from 30 feet away. You're pulling fish from 7 feet away.
Yeah.
Okay? Those loud rattle chambers are where it's at when you're on good fishers. Lake of the Woods, Devil's Lake, Red Lake, full of fish. Those fish are swimming around looking for something to eat. Give them something they can find from further away. And that's where that is a phenomenal spoon. I mean, I put a post on Instagram earlier, Devil's Lake walleye killer, because they're like 25% off,
Sure.
I can confirm that too. I went out with a buddy to Red Lake Early Ice last year where we had to walk out, and he had one of those rattling PTs on the whole day. He never took it off.
I have one on like the whole winter.
and he outfished me. I was trying a whole bunch of different lures, and he kind of crushed me. So a little bit humbling, but it is what it is.
Where it's at. That Pyrex glass is just loud.
Yeah.
Just like it. Yeah. So that's one lure for sure to have in your tackle box.
Okay, so you have some new heaters, I hear.
Yeah.
So that intrigues me because I don't like to be cold. So.
Me neither. I was telling somebody, I got the ice armor on, and people are like, oh, are you soft? I said, kind of, yeah. I'm kind of like a pheasant. I hate getting wet. I hate getting cold, right? I mean,
sure.
So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, heat hog, I mean, yeah, they're durable. Okay, I mean, I've got a bone pile of different things that I've tried, whatever, but they're durable. You can tilt them. There's a dock on the back of the heater where you use more of your propane if you're using a 1 pound canister, which, I mean, you see how expensive those have gotten the last couple of years. I mean, my goodness, that's crazy. I should have invested in the 1 pound propane business.
Some stock, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Buddy finally has some competition with Clams line going out, Heat Hog, and obviously the OG.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's good for the consumer, because for a long time there wasn't any, and there weren't a lot of options. And so, yeah, more options is good, better pricing, better product. But I think, right now, Heat Hog is phenomenal.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to try one out this year.
Yeah, I mean, just pick one up and hold it in your hands. I mean, it just looks different.
Yeah, they look well built.
Yeah, they are. They are. I've got them. I use them in my deer blinds. I use them in the garage. I use them in the shed. I use them, obviously, when I'm fishing. They're banging around in the back of those tubs. like on Lake Winnipeg and lake trout trips and stuff, just taking pounding and never have any issues. Never have to pick up any parts in the bottom of the sled and wonder what this is for.
Yeah. This looks important. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, everything's still turning on, I guess. So do I throw it or do I keep it?
Awesome. Well, Jason, we'll let you get back to dealing out fishing advice to all the people coming into the tent.
Great. I mean, I've been just busy talking nonstop. I might have to get a bottle of water or something, but it's been busy. It's been great crowd.
It's great to see. Great to see so much excitement about ice fishing.
So
I got the itch.
I'm thinking I don't ever want to turn into a competition. It breaks my heart when I hear about young people that fall through and either die or they're in a coma. It's not a contest who can get out there first, where sometimes for Instagram likes and social media accolades, people push the luck, like, look at me on thin ice. That's stupid. Okay, so it's never a contest. Okay, you want at least 3 inches to walk on, and you never go out there without a spud bar so you can check it, because 3 inches might be safe, but an inch sure isn't. And if you take one step from where geese were sitting a week ago to where the geese weren't, it could be a disaster. Okay, so keep it safe. But that being said, I think there'll be places around home with some shallow sloughs, small lakes where I'll be able to ice fish after the week after Thanksgiving pretty comfortably, just walking out with a spud bar. So it's here.
It's here.
By the time we edit this, I'll be on the ice probably.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. So here we are. Guest number 2, beef.
The legend.
What's the beef? Talk to us.
What's the deal? This is awesome here, isn't it? I mean, this Scheels Ice Fest. I think this is like year 4 or 5. It's 11 overall.
11.
Yeah, number 11. Time flies.
9 then. Yeah, that tells you I'm aging myself. But Scheels puts on one heck of an event here, and it's so much fun. And I get to travel down and visit. We're in Fargo, so it's awesome being here. And what a great community too. So it's awesome. But talk fishing and talk augers and talk fishing rods. That's about the story of my life.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no better place to be unless you're like on the ice.
Well, I am a teacher, so I did call in sick today. So I hope they're not listening at my school. But yeah.
Well, this isn't live anyway.
This isn't live. So
well, thank
we'll be all right.
Yeah.
So it's Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's definitely Saturday. Definitely not Friday.
Perfect. We're right on track.
Yeah.
No, it's great. It's fun. I'm lucky as being a school teacher. I'm a firefighter also, and doing this so many years, and I guide, and so it's been a lot of fun traveling and going to shows. But Scheels puts on probably one of the best ones that I get to go to during the year, and I always look forward to circle that date, and I'm excited to be here again.
Yeah, I was driving to this event, and I saw the parking lot, and it was just like kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
I was like, so many cool things to look at, so many people to just talk ice fishing with. It's awesome.
Oh, it is, and obviously this time of year the question is, well, can we drive on the ice yet, or can we walk on the ice? And it's always ice safety first this time of the year. You always want to talk
100%.
that. And there's a lot of great companies down here that actually promote that too. So there's a lot of neat things with suits or ice picks and stuff. So this time of the year, I mean, North Dakota's cold right now, and I know northern Minnesota, where I'm from, up on Lake of the Woods, we still have open water and no snow on the ground.
Yeah.
So there's a pretty big difference between the two, but it won't be long.
So,
You definitely can't drive on the ice right now.
No, that's what I would tell people.
There's still waves.
Oh, it's crazy. You get 1 or 2 inches on there. Can we take half tons or 3/4 tons yet? It's like walk.
slowly, right?
Yes.
So once we are able to walk out there or drive out there, what kind of trends in like augers are you seeing right now?
Well, a few years ago was the end of gas, and we at Strike Master we called it the kick your gas auger out the door type deal, and everything went to lithium or electric augers. We had propane for a while with another company and stuff, but everybody seems to be switching over to the electric. And at Strike Master we have a 24 volt and a 40 volt, so we have the best of both worlds. There's a little bit of difference between the both, but boy, you can do everything you wanted to with the electric auger that you were able to do with the gas auger. So it's pretty cool how technology has changed this whole industry.
Yeah. And basically the only people that haven't conformed are the people that are worried about the batteries and them dying. So do you have any good tips for making sure to keep your batteries in a good place to use them?
Yeah, it depends on if you're able to drive out or if you're walking out or if you're on a snowmobile or a four-wheeler or something. What I like to do is to keep my batteries so they don't freeze up. I put them in a small soft-sided cooler with a hand warmer. And so if I'm on my snowmobile, I'm going across the lake on Lake of the Woods, it's 30, 40 miles across, and it can be 20 below it, I can still have a great lithium battery. And I use that for everything from GoPros to cell phones to any of that stuff. It keeps it nice and warm. Obviously, if you're in your vehicle, you can keep it in your truck or if you have a wheelhouse or something. But when you're done drilling the holes through the ice, just take the battery off and keep it wherever it's warm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah, it's nice, and that'll give you a little bit more longevity out of your batteries, and you can drill more holes that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
What about you're right in two different camera angles right now.
Usually I'm the one that takes up a lot of space, but it's all right. There's plenty of personalities in this industry, and Kyle's one of them too. He's a great guy.
Oh, absolutely. I met him at the door, and we didn't even talk Ice Fest. We just talked deer hunting.
Oh,
yeah. And you have to look up to him. That's the other problem.
Absolutely.
He makes a great screen. No, it's good. It's good.
Talk to us quick about your outdoor channel, your content that you do.
Oh, I get a chance to do a lot of fun things, but I'm a part of the Dialed In Angling show. So it's a TV show that's on Fox Sports North and hosted by Tony Roach. And it's something that's done through Rapala, Strike Master. And Tony gets to travel across the country, and every week I'm doing live updates from Lake of the Woods, talking about what's going on our little pond up there of 1 million acres. And it's pretty cool. And it's just about... For me, it's promoting it for the youth, and this industry is nothing without our young anglers coming up, and that's what's really cool about the show is it's not about staging the fish or trying to hide the fish or make fish bigger or stuff like that. We don't. It's really straight up. It's pretty cool. So the show's neat, and they get to travel to some cool locations.
That's awesome. Okay, so I grew up fishing Lake of the Woods. I want you to give me the forecast for this year. Do you have high expectations, or should I temper myself this year?
Well, driving this morning, I thought, okay, cool. I'm leaving Lake of the Woods area. It's 34 degrees in the morning at 3:30 this morning, and I get to halfway here, and all of a sudden the temperature dropped to 16 and snow on the ground. I'm like, usually we're the ones that are icebox of the nation. If you grew up there, you know what I mean, or you fished it, you know how cold it can get. But I'm super excited this year because the last 2 years have been so mild, and we're due for a good cold winter. Let's keep the snow away for a while. Let's let that ice build up, and then let people use that lake and recreate. Is that the word we would use? But come out there.
It's the one we're going to use now.
You're the teacher, so you tell me.
I'm a fire and health teacher, not an English teacher.
Okay, no English there.
I have to take my shoes and socks off once I get to 11 and 12.
Yeah.
So it's
there you go. Thoughts on population and quality of fish at Lake of the Woods right now?
Our DNR works really hard up there, and the fisheries does, and they keep telling us it's in good shape. And I guided over 70 trips this summer in our charter boat and stuff, and I saw very good numbers of fish. Everyone always likes to say there's a bunch of them 10 to 12 inches, and there's that in every lake, and you just happen to see more of it in the winter time. But last year, with a very little ice pressure we had because of ice conditions, this summer was phenomenal, and I'm hoping this winter it's going to be the same way. But everyone should be pretty darn excited for this ice season. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I know I am for sure. So, all right, thank you for your time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, up next we have Aaron Templin from Acme Tackle, 2B, and Elliott Rods.
Yep.
How you doing today, Aaron?
Really, really good, actually. It's nice to be talking ice fishing finally, right?
Finally, yes. I am just elevated for sure.
Yes, 100%.
Right. I was walking around taking pictures, and then Ashley runs into me, and I was like, I just had a giant ear-to-ear grin. I'm like, this is my happy place.
Right.
Yeah.
The temperature finally hit low. Everybody's thinking ice fishing. It's a good transition time, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Acme, 2B, Elliott, they're a little bit newer to Scheels. I mean, you guys have been around a while, but we haven't really started carrying you a lot until, especially the last few years, you've gained a ton of trajectory. Can you just talk to us about like a couple of your favorite products from each line.
Yeah, so I'm new to the Acme team, right? I came from Elliott Rods and 2B Fishing. So when that acquisition happened, I joined on with the Acme team, which was really exciting, right? We have a great pairing to be able to do lures and rods. Obviously, the Acme team's got Beaver Dam as well, so we've got tip-ups, rods, tackle. I mean, it's really just started to grow and create a really cool family. So that's the exciting part for us, right? Is I come from a high-end rod background, and then the pairing with Acme and the high-end tackle has really been exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to give me your favorite Elliott panfish and walleye setups.
Okay,
two favorites.
Yeah, absolutely, that's right in my wheelhouse, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
got
walleye junkie.
I threw you a layup.
I'm a walleye junkie. So walleye and crappies has been my game forever. So we do really well with our fiberglass rods. So everybody's seen the Odyssey series. If you've seen Elliott, it's the clear looking blank. It's a 32-inch super noodle. It's really, really soft tip. So everybody knows the tungsten game is huge, and being small tungsten and really dropping in on those fish. So the 32-inch super noodle, if you're chasing crappies, you can see that uptick without a spring bobber. Huge, absolutely huge.
And anybody that's fished crappie enough knows that being able to detect those up bites is super important.
Right, 100%. And that rod does that. It fits every part of that category. And then walleye-wise, last year we released the Wally Perka was our number one selling rod, the Wally Perka. Walleye perch setup. It's a medium light, fast action. Last year we released the Wally Perka XL. I like longer rods. I'm 6'4". I'm a tall guy. That's where the evolution and all that comes in, is hole hopping. But if you're still in an ice house, I still like a little bit longer length. It's a fish fighting tool for me. Longer length allows me to play that fish out a little bit better than a short rod. Summer style, right? Longer rods, better fish fighting tool. Same things applying in the ice stuff. So Wally Perka XL, it's a 36-inch medium light. It's based off of the platform of our number one selling Wally Perka. So I would say that is kind of the go-to walleye setup.
Okay. You know, I have to say I haven't used an Elliott rod yet, but I do have to give them a try. But what we're talking about next, 2B, I have like 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
So it's just, you know, even for me, like 2B, amazing quality, doesn't quite have that sticker shock, but it's like you got a premium rod at not quite the premium price.
100, you nailed it right there. And that's what our focus was with 2B, right? Is to do what we do with our rod design and put it into that price point that really fits for everybody.
Yeah, they're like, I'd have to say my favorite is your guys' Quick Draw. I love that rod, and it's just, it feels like a premium rod, but it's like, it just doesn't quite have that sticker shock. It's
100%.
awesome.
Yeah, extra fast.
Yep.
And you're able to use little light flutter spoons, things like that. It's just a flick of the wrist. You're into them. You got great hook sets.
Exactly.
It's killer.
Yeah, it's kind of my everything rod. Like I'll do spoons, I'll do glide baits. I put an Akuma Samar bait feeder on there, and it's my one that if I don't want to be like actively fishing, I'll flip that bait feeder and you know, just let her hang there, and you know, it'll handle any fish. Like
100%.
I've caught everything from like little perch to a 16-pound northern on it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and that's the show to the quality, right? Being able to have that confidence and whatever you're going to set the hook into, and it's there for you.
Mm-hmm. So what are a couple of your favorites from the 2B line?
2B lineup, just like you said, that fast draw I'm a big fan of, and then the bigger version, Spoon Daddy. So I always talk about liking the longer length, right? And that Spoon Daddy is really a heavy hitter for me in that lineup. It's just the bigger version of the fast draw. I really like the 2B Dead Stick. I fish a lot of that. Last year we released a Klondike that everybody that was a big fan of the Prospector, we retweaked it, softened it a touch, which I think is what it needed, and that Klondike's huge for me as well. That's straight Castmaster style, rattling Castmasters, things like that, kind of the bread and butter spoons rod. That fits that mold really well.
That's awesome.
And it how about with Acme Tackle? I know you said you're newer to this area,
Right.
but something you're looking forward to using this year.
Yeah, so the tungsten stuff is huge with the Acme stuff. So Acme's big thing and the big draw when I fished Acme even before I was a part of the team is the Google Eye stuff, right? So they have Google Eye tungstens, and I think that's huge. Obviously, I love crappie fishing, and that little Google Eye tungsten, those subtle little shakes, it has just enough little rattle to really set itself apart. I think that's huge. The Mickeys, which are really cool, Hyper T's, which are really cool, and if I know we're on a podcast, so it has little fins on it, right? So it's allowed to swim around, and adding that motion for crappies is huge, right? There's time to be subtle and there's time to be aggressive, and then you can be too aggressive.
Yeah.
So it fits that middle zone with the Mickeys and the Hyper T's. Killer baits.
Yeah.
Definitely killer baits.
Which one's what's the one that has like the swinging hook?
The swinging hook on it?
Yeah,
that's the Pendu tungsten.
The Pendu tungsten.
And the Pendu is killer.
If you haven't fished a Pendu tungsten, do yourself a favor, give it a try. Because like I did some experimenting, like I took my GoPro, which is waterproof, and I like shoved my hand down the hole, and like I want to watch this thing in action. And just the way that it like maneuvers your plastic, where you can like be a little more aggressive with the jig, but the plastic will act like super natural still. It'll still have that just like nice motions.
Yeah, it's swimming.
It's like
You nailed it. It's super natural. Yes, and that's just a play on the summer one, right? So that Pendu, that pendulum hook is a big deal.
Great.
So that's an exciting one. If we're going to talk exciting baits, the tungstens, the Pendu, right? And then now the little hyper rattles. So we have the tiny little versions. If you come check them out in the tent, they're the cutest darn thing you ever seen. It's like a little swimming, jigging style swimming bait. Everybody knows the hyper rattles for the summer stuff. Now we have micro ones, so they're tiny. Those things are dynamite.
Nice. They might be cute, but they sting like a bee, right?
100%, yeah.
Love it. All right, so Aaron, thank you so much for your time.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Great to get a little taste of the 2B Elliott Acme lineup. So best of luck fishing this year, man.
Yeah, everybody, thank you so much.
Okay, next up we have Tony Mariotti. We're going to do a little Vexilar talk here. So, Tony, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, and with the amount of people coming in and out of here and watching these units fly off the shelf, it's a good day here at Scheels.
Yeah, it's exciting for sure. Energy's great. Everyone's ready to get out there.
So, Vexilar, kind of an OG of the ice electronics, but, there's still some amazing benefits to running Vexilar. So just talk to us a little bit about the lineup and what you love most about using a Vexilar.
For sure, Vexilar's been around forever. They're kind of, like I said, the OGs of the flasher world. And with so many people and myself using the forward-facing sonar, there's definitely still a really important use for your Vexilar, and they continue to make improvements and innovations for the flasher technology that are being passed on to the consumer. And right now, some of these prices are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, bang for your buck, they are absolutely difficult to beat.
They are. A couple of years ago, it came out with the FLX 28, which kind of was the newest, greatest thing where you could change your colors. It had the adjustable zoom. You had some features that were pretty impressive. But then people said, hey, we want to be able to change our frequencies. We want to be able to get into changing our zoom to different areas. So they came out with the FLX 30 broadband technology. And that was kind of a game changer for a lot of people who wanted to spend time actually making adjustments and tinkering with the different settings. Well, old guys like myself, we weren't taking the 30 and using it for what its potential was. So this year they came out with the FLX 38 that has a lot of those features of the 30 that are automatically adjusted for you, or else way more user-friendly for us old guys to kind of go back old school and use it like we were familiar with using our Vexilar. So that being said, there are some unbelievable prices on the FLX 30 as they're kind of transitioning to this 38. We're talking almost 50% off the FLX 30. Both the Gens pack, or all three, the Gens pack, Pro pack, and the Ultra pack are almost $400 off from last year. So people are taking those deals, taking advantage of them, and we're seeing them fly off the shelves.
And just the benefits of a Vexilar, like when you're fishing with one, like you can just tell like exactly what the fish are doing down there once you understand how to read them. And I mean, the main thing is just the interference levels. Like, I've been using forward-facing sonar quite a bit for the past few years, and especially once it gets later into the season, just they know that it's there. Like, if you're hitting them with all those sonar waves, they react negatively to that, and you just don't have to deal with that with a Vexilar.
Very true. And it's not all the time. And I mean, there are some days where forward-facing sonar doesn't seem to spook those fish. I've had other times on Devil's Lake where it blows those perch out of there. Or up on Lake Winnipeg when we were fishing that shallow water, under 12, 13 feet of water, a lot of times 5, 6 feet, that sonar hits those fish and they're gone. So, Jason Mitchell and I did a show last year kind of using the 1-2 punch where we used the forward-facing sonar to locate schools of fish, and then we would move on those fish using our flasher setups, using our Vexilar, and be able to refine. And when those fish would finally leave the area, we'd go back and turn that forward-facing sonar, and we could see where those fish moved to. And again, we'd set up on them with our flashers and definitely had better success doing that. And that's why I don't think the flasher technology is gonna be obsolete or go away.
I really don't think it'll ever go away. Like, the more people that start using forward-facing sonar, the more fish are gonna negatively react to it, the more stealthy you're gonna have to be. So like you said, using that 1-2 punch, it's gonna become, and already is, very, very effective.
And we talked about the sonar kind of blowing them out, but another thing that I've learned a lot by using forward-facing sonar is if you want to know where the fish go, they go wherever there isn't holes. So when you grid off that area, those fish seem to tuck in wherever there wasn't holes. So you might have a 10-foot band of fish and you drill holes over them. Well, now you've got 2 5-foot bands of fish on each side of those holes. And as we drilled the holes, they just kind of kept sliding out, where when we were using our flashers, using that Vexilar technology, we were able to kind of drill that grid and hole hop where you could cover a lot more area and you weren't blowing those fish out of there. So that's where the flasher technology definitely shines through.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that have invested in live sonar and have that Vexilar just sitting there, bring it with. Test this out. We are not lying to you right now.
For sure. And we've seen it time and time again. I'll take nothing away from forward-facing sonar, because you can learn things from that you can't see on a flasher. But as far as truly reading the mood of a fish, watching when a fish is going to strike, watching when that fish starts to get excited, or how your bait entices that fish, that's where that flasher technology, it just doesn't go away, because the longer you spend, the more time you spend getting to know that and what that fish is doing and thinking, the more you become in tune with both your bait and the fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just develop that knowledge. You find where they're at, and then you can find their attitudes and what's going to entice them to bite.
Yep,
with the Vexilar.
And then walking in here and seeing these prices, I mean, there are prices here that I was selling used Vexilars for the last couple of years that were the 28s and the 30s for way more than these are right now here at Scheels Ice Fest.
Mm-hmm. So, you're a panfish guy, aren't you, Tony?
Spend a lot of time chasing panfish. Yep.
What's a favorite lure that you're excited to tie on?
It's pretty tough for the two lures. If I'm fishing crappies, right now I'm using that Tika Flash. Tika Flash came out last year. I got to use it as a prototype the year before. We refined a few things, made a few adjustments, and if I'm going after crappies, I've got a Tika Flash on. I like it because it's a bait that I don't feel like I need to use live bait, or even plastics for that matter. I can just tie it on, and when those fish are aggressive, the Tika Flash is where it's at. If it's going to be a little bit tougher bite, big fan of a drop kick jig. I like the little bit larger size jigs. I like Wonder Bread color, white glow, something I can tip with either a waxy or a white plastic. That's usually my first go-to. You'll see me with a larger profile jig and a Mackie Minnow XL. I love that bait. That's what's always going to be on my rod first.
Nice. All right, I got an early ice question for you.
Okay.
Let's say all you have is an app where you can see bottom contours, and you can only drill one hole. Where are you going to set up?
If it's a lake that I've been on before, my answer will be different than if it's a lake I haven't. If it's a lake I've been on before, my first setup is going to be where I remember the weeds being, whether that was at the end of the dock, maybe out on that first break where I could physically see the weeds when I was out in the boat. When we were swimming, you could swim out to the weed line. I'm going to drill my one hole by those weeds. If I've never been on the lake and I only see contours, I'm going to look for the first drop off that goes from a nice flat of maybe 6, 8, 10 feet, where it drops down to that 12, 14 feet of water. Very seldom early ice are you going to see me over 14 feet of water. So I would drill that one hole right on that break between 12 and 14 feet of water.
Okay, so when I'm trying to find you, I'm going to look for 12 or so foot of water, and I'm going to fish by that guy, because I know he catches a lot of fish.
I do my best, but I spend a lot of time looking over the side of a boat, getting ready for that first ice, and you'll find me right where I found those weeds during the open water.
Nice. All right, well, Tony, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate the knowledge, and good luck fishing this year.
Thank you, sir. Come and check us out at Scheels.
All right, we got Matthew Lardenois. How about that for a French name?
Oh, yeah,
With
that's a
Amped
good one.
Outdoors, we're talking some batteries.
We are talking batteries, power.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We need power when we're out on the ice.
You gotta be amped up on the ice,
You
and you
can't be
need
worried
light.
about them dying on us.
Nope. So we have a very wide selection, a very lightweight
Lithium.
and lithium batteries, correct. So very wide range. So whether you have a little flasher like a traditional Vexlar, all the way up to your forward-facing sonar, Garmin, Lowrance, and Humminbird, we've got a pretty large selection of batteries to do that. So a lot of times people want to go out, you want the lightweight technology, but also you want something that's going to last you a long time. And technology today in your fishing electronics, they draw a lot more power. People are bringing larger screens out, and to do that, the traditional methods of lead acid batteries, you're carrying 50 pounds of batteries out there. Now you can do it. Every battery that we have here will be 7 pounds or less.
Mm-hmm. It's just crazy how much power you can get out of such a lightweight battery.
Oh yeah, and they're only getting smaller and lighter, and we've really changed that game. We're one of the first ones to start off producing small form factor lithium batteries for ice fishing. So we started that in 2017, and we've been able to make them smaller, higher capacities, and it's really changed the game of how people take their stuff out. And you're seeing that it's not just in your electronics, but you see that now in augers, right? 5 years ago, no one had electric augers. Now they're all electric. And you can drill hundreds and hundreds of holes with an electric auger now. Lithium really has changed the game overall in the entire sport.
So if I'm going out for the whole day, what kind of battery setup do I need?
Yeah, and it really depends on what you have. So like your little Vexlar units or traditional flashers are, we have an 8 amp hour battery. It's sub $50, in a show like this, it's sub $50, and that battery is going to give you up to 40 hours of operation. Weighs in at 2 pounds, and 10 years worth of service. So it's versus replacing batteries every couple of years. So that's the advantage of that. And then like your big Garmin units that a lot of people are buying now, you're going to get, we have a 32 and a 52 amp hour battery that can give you an entire weekend out on the ice with them. So you don't need a whole lot. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There is nothing worse than getting to prime evening fishing time and having that battery die.
Yes.
Not that I've been there.
Like, has this happened?
No, not at all. I wasn't like spending months preparing for Lake Winnipeg and up there and then hit the prime bite window and then I can't see anything,
Can't drill a hole, you can't.
Yeah. Well, you can drill the hole, but you just you're fishing blind.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy concept now. Like once you started fishing with electronics, especially forward-facing sonar, and then all of a sudden it's gone and you have nothing, it's like, why am I even here right now?
Yeah, it's like losing your cell phone, right?
Yeah,
it's like, what
pretty
do I
much.
do? How do I do this?
It's another sore subject for Mike.
Right.
Yeah, that is another story. I may or may not have an iPhone 15 down about 17 foot deep right now, hanging out.
Went down in a hole. Yeah.
Yep. I was trying to film content, and I was filming a underwater camera. I had one of those portable versions, and I didn't have anything to turn it, so I was leaning down and turning the cord to try and get it to see my jig, and I leaned a little too far, and my phone joined my lure down there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And there's no way to fish that out.
No, there really isn't.
No.
It was a bad deal. Oh, yeah. So, just what's like your most, for like a live sonar setup, what is your most popular battery, the one that you would recommend?
Yeah, and it depends on screen size. So 2 years ago, everyone was running a 9-inch. Now last year, it seems like in the last year, everyone's gone to like 10 and 12. So we have technology that do that. So our 32 amp hour battery is our top seller. So it's a very small 4-pound battery, and that'll go, on those larger screens, anywhere from 10 to 20 hours. And then we have the new 52 amp hour battery this year that's 7 pounds. And that'll give you 20 to 30 hours. So those are going to be our two top sellers. And they come down to come to an event like this, you can feel them. And Scheels will have, they have them in store as well, where you can feel the batteries, how light they are. And we have these little operating time charts. So if you come in, tell us what you have, we can look at it and we'll tell you how long every single battery will last on what you're running. So we've got some little time charts like that, but here in event, we've got like 8 different batteries available. So there's always, they're so universal. It's not like you can just use them for your fishing electric. You can use them for shack lights. You can use them for, powering your phones and other devices you're taking out on the ice.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different things you can use them for. So yeah, we can pair you up with the right stuff.
Yeah, it's really amazing what you can do with them nowadays. But I'd like you to leave us with a couple of tips. I want just some tips on charging and maintenance so you can get the most out of longevity for your battery.
Yes. So we're talking lithium batteries in general. Make sure you have the right charger. So when you buy a battery, a lot of ours will come with a charger. If not, we have the right charger available. So that's the first thing. Make sure you have the right one. When you're charging the product, make sure that you put a full charge on it. And I always recommend charge before every use. Right? Sometimes people will wait until they go dead. In a lithium battery, there's no reason to wait for it to go dead. There's no memory on them. So charge it before every use so you go out with a full battery. If there's an off season, I always recommend charge the battery, pull everything off of it, because your battery, your electronics will draw power when not in use. So if you let that sit for 6 months, it could completely drain that battery down. So always disconnect your electronics. So whether you have it in your boat and you're going to be not using it for the winter, just disconnect your electronics, no matter what battery you have, so they don't draw them down. And then, if you're going to go summer months without using them, disconnect it so that way it's good to go next season.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, appreciate the time.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
me.
for the Battery 101.
Yep, you bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and last but not least, we have one of our Fargo members behind the scenes, Mr. Matt Schneider of the Fargo Scheels Outdoors page. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing good. How could you not be doing good right now? Like, place is buzzing.
Exactly.
A lot of
Place is
excitement.
buzzing. Everybody's excited about ice fishing. Things are going smoothly. People are saving a lot of money.
There is that. There is that.
I mean, they might be spending a lot of money too, but they're saving a lot of money at the same time.
It's all needs, never wants.
Exactly. It's
all
everything's
needs.
everything is always a need, completely justified when it comes to ice fishing equipment, especially like the 300, 400 lures that I have never used but are in my tackle box ready to go just in case.
You gotta have them in all the different colors.
Yeah.
Though. Like, what happens if pink chartreuse doesn't work? Then you gotta go to fire tiger. And if
Exactly.
that doesn't work, you gotta keep rifling through them.
All right. Talk to us a little bit about just what it takes to get this ice fest going and have it be what it is.
Man, planning starts months for this event, and you seriously can't have this event or any outdoor event that we hold, whether Hunt Expo, Fish Fest, and this one especially, you can't have it unless you have a solid team. So like in those months prepping and getting ready, we're talking to vendors, we're figuring out what product that we should actually bring in and give the consumer a really good deal on. And then also like this beautiful tent that we're in obviously doesn't just magically appear. I wish that it just like snap of a finger it would set up, but we found a really great company to partner with, and they've been working with us the past couple of years. And other than that, like months in advance, just trying to get ready and thinking about all the things that could go wrong, so that way we can avoid those problems during this event.
Yeah, there's an incredible amount of planning and organization, and then just getting it done when it comes to it. It's super cool. And we're seeing we're getting more and more Ice Fest per stores.
Right.
You know, how many, what are we at, 8 now? It's growing every year.
Yes.
It's growing.
It is.
All I know is it's growing every year. We get a ton of requests, different states, different stores. We'd love to see one in every store that's, above the ice belt. We're getting there. So,
We're getting there. I mean, Texas had ice that 1 year,
yeah.
didn't they?
I don't think Texas is next on the list.
Ice Fest 2025?
But, yeah.
The Colony?
There we go. Maybe 2035 we can get to the Colony.
All right.
We'll make that.
But if someone has never been to an event at Scheels, let alone an Ice Fest, why should they come check this out?
Well, like we've kind of talked about, is product on sale and giving the consumer the best deal before the season really kind of kicks off. But the biggest thing is our experts are trained, very knowledgeable, but sometimes you need to hear it from someone from the actual factory or from that brand. So the cool thing is all of our vendors are here selling their product with the help of our Scheels experts, but you can come and actually talk to someone that's from StrikeMaster, from Norsk, from Amped Outdoors. You can talk to those people, and sometimes that's where the really good information comes from, because they didn't just start using that product when it dropped. They used that product months or sometimes years in advance before it even hit the industry. So these people are packed with information.
Yeah. You want the best information? Come to one of these Ice Fests.
Correct.
So I want to talk a little bit about the Fargo Outdoors page.
Love it.
So, yes, absolutely. What sort of stuff can we expect to see in terms of ice fishing coming up in the next couple of months from you guys?
Well, we're really going to hit it hard with ice fishing especially. We're going to be talking about new product in the industry, but we're also going to be talking about tips and tricks, because we can push product every day, all day, but no one wants to always see that. But the tips and tricks is where we really hit it home, because sometimes our experts have a really good tip for chasing early ice walleyes, or we're middle of the season and the fish are going dormant. Where are we finding fish? How are we using our electronics and everything to our advantage to put the most fish topside? So that's the biggest thing. We just want our customers to get the right product, but we also want them to have all the information to make sure to use it at its fullest capacity. I can't talk today.
Yeah, we've all done a lot of talking already, so we'll let that one slide.
Okay, perfect.
But I do want to get a fishing tip from you. Give me your best early ice fishing tip.
There's a lot of them. And a few of them I don't want to give away quite yet.
Ooh, I got to coax some out of you,
yeah,
huh?
maybe.
We'll talk offline.
I would say my biggest tip is don't be afraid to fish too shallow. A lot of these fish are going to be up shallow, and especially up here in the Dakotas. One thing I really like to do is I look on the map and I kind of figure out exactly where I want to be fishing at. But then when I park my vehicle, I'm always just looking down through the ice, because during these early ice sections or early ice weeks, we're able to see through that ice and actually see what the structure is beneath. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for weeds, I'm looking for vegetation, and seeing the color of the weeds. If I can find really good weed structure or green weeds through the ice, more than likely I'm just going to walk right alongside those weeds, find the edge, and sit there. That edge might be in 2 feet of water, it might be in 10 feet of water, but finding that edge of the weed line, that's where the most oxygen and the most bait are going to be, and that's where you're going to find most of your fish. So
I think I found the ideal spot to ice fish on my lake in front of my cabin, because we have weeds.
There you go.
there you go. During the early ice, you do not have to go far off the road at all.
No.
You could go, closest I've ever been is 10 yards off the road. And people looked at me like I was nuts, and then they looked in the bucket and they're like, oh, maybe
there is something to it.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to fish too shallow. Find the weeds, you'll find the fish.
Love it.
That's
All
the
right.
one I'll give away.
Okay, we'll take that. That was a good tip.
How about a product that has maybe caught your eye today?
Man, there's a lot of stuff out here. I still think one of my favorite products in the ice industry right now is going to be my Garmin Live Scope package. and not necessarily like using it all the time for fishing purposes, but using it to find fish. Like if I'm during the early ice, I'll probably use my live scope to find that weed line if I can't look through the ice. But then I'll pick up my Vexler, I'll pick up my Markham, and I'll pole hop around that area. So using all your electronics, using everything to your advantage, but that live scope bundle, it's lights out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, Matt, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for letting us, set up shop here at your Fish Fest.
Absolutely.
It's been a blast.
Feel free to hang around, put you guys to work a little bit.
You're going to probably have a harder time getting me out of here than convincing me to stay.
I was trying to set up, and I was looking all over for Mike. He's just checking out everything. So.
Yeah. Don't mind me. I'm in my own little happy place right now. So, yes, anybody that hasn't been to a Fish Fest, if you get an opportunity, got to come to one of these things. If not, we've always got our local Scheels stores or online at scheels.com. Let's get yourselves ready for ice season. Thanks for watching.